love you. You're really fantastic. Beautiful.
Good evening. Is this working? Yes. Good evening. I like to always stand just in the middle, but they told me I have to stand here because they will not hear the sound if I move there. So I'm restricted to this part of the space. So I really don't want to talk about my work so much tonight. I really wanted to talk about performance itself and what it means, today in this world. And to give you some examples, like to be in a function of basically DJ of performance art. But before all that, I would like just to go back into the time of Renaissance and tell you the story how the Renaissance artists prepared to make artwork. So, if we have Michelangelo, or we have Leonardo da Vinci, Cennino Cennini, those days, he wrote his instructions, what artists should do to make work of art. So this is his proposition. So if you get signed by the Pope, let's say, or the King, or whatever, Prince, Sistine Chapel, or some huge, very important monument, what you have to do before you start the work? You have to stop eating meat for 3 months. Then, 1 month before, you have to not drink wine. 3 weeks before, you should have no any kind of sexual intercourse. 3 days before you start, you put your entire right hand, if you're right-handed, or left-handed, if you're left-handed, in a plaster, absolutely motionless. And then the day you start, you break this plaster, you take the pencil or the brush, and then you can make a perfect circle. And then is the beginning. So this is really very old-fashioned, old days time, but I really think that is so important, because if you want to be a performance artist, you have to have a stamina, physical and mental, some kind of predisposition to make the work of art. So you need to do lots of preparation. Preparations I'm suggesting are cleaning the house. So that will be which kind of house, and not the house you own, not the flat you own, the loft, whatever. It's just your only own house you have, is your own body. So I would go, and take whoever participates in my workshops to the nature. And then I take the Sufi sentence which say, the worst is the best. So that will be extremely cold or extremely hot weather, but nothing in between. So we have to go to the nature. Then we all sleep together in sleeping bags next to each other. No food for 5 days, only drinking water. But we are talking no food, no juices, no fruits, nothing, just water. And not talking. Talking is even more difficult than not eating. That's amazing. But talking, you kind of verbalize everything, and energy goes everywhere, and you never concentrate it. So this is very important. No talking, and no eating. And then you're doing very heavy physical and mental exercises in order to really to check your concentration, because our concentration is disaster. We are not more concentrated than 30 seconds of advertising Coca-Cola on television. We can't concentrate on anything. Our whole culture, we don't have time for anything. We're doing Blackberries and the iPods and iPads and whatever, making phone calls. There is no center in ourselves. So that means that concentration is very important, and to do exercises in this direction. And the exercises have to be very physical and mental, difficult. And then after these 5 days, you can eat first meal, and that will be just, cook rice, and that's it. And then after that, you are ready to see if you can really make performance. And you can have that kind of mental and physical ability to be in the present. And the idea with the present is so important. Because we always live in past, which happened, or we live in future, which is going to happen, or planning future. But the present escapes us. We are never here and now in our mind or our body. We are always somewhere else with our mind. Somebody said, the scientific experiment, they say that only time when the human being doesn't think is two times in their life. Is if they sneeze, you don't think, and if you have orgasm, you don't think. Every other time you think. So the thinking process is going constantly, and you're always somewhere else. You're never in your own body and your own self, and very little in the present. So my whole work in my entire, the kind of achievement till 40 years of performing is to come to that point, to be in the present, to be here and now with my body and my mind. But also, this is not enough. I have to create energy dialogue with the public, that the public have to be also here and now with me, otherwise we are again nowhere. So you can sit and look, performance on the stage, and you can sit with your body, but your mind can be in Honolulu or who knows where. Also the performance artist can be in his body in the front of you, but his mind is somewhere else. That means you never connect. There is no connection. Nothing is really happening. There is no energy exchange. There is no dialogue. And then, the performance is bad. And performance being for such a long time nobody territory, no man territory. There was just always this kind of thing that I think one of the reasons because people give up on performance because there's so many bad performances. Because we always think that everything is performance and you can do easily. But performance is a big, serious business and it's not really easy. So, talking about Cennini and preparation, it's also important what kind of demand we have as an artist and who are we and what we really want to achieve. And if you look in the past, like Malevich will always talk about a new step, that he wants to create a new step in evolution of art. Mondrian will always talk about new reality. Joseph Beuys will talk about being shaman, being that kind of shamanistic approach to art. And I was always asking myself, but what is my function here? And I always see my function as a bridge, because I come from ex-Yugoslavia, which is literally a geographical bridge between East and West world, between another type of time, Eastern type of time and Western type of time. And on the bridges there are always winds, and you are kind of pushed one way or another way, and it's so full of contradictions. So you have to kind of create kind of stable center to stay on the bridge and to stay in these winds. And I felt that I would like to go to the Eastern cultures and learn how to use my body and my mind to really push the limits and understand how that function, and then come to the West and create performances and do it in that way. So this lecture today, I like to start really with my manifesto. Manifesto is such an old-fashioned thing. The Surrealist made manifesto, Dadaist made manifesto, who else? There's so many, different times in the past people made manifesto, but the artists today don't really make manifesto, at least I didn't see anyone. So I felt it's the time to make manifesto, and this manifesto is actually lots of fun. I think I kind of succeed to have some humor in it, so you can laugh, please, on everything you think is funny, but I'm going to read to you.